Now, we all know that time is money. And when it comes to a Disney World vacation, you have to make sure that you get your money's worth. Hi everyone, my name is Lisbeth, and in today's video, I am going to share with you the time-saving methods that I used on my most recent Disney vacation. These time-saving methods allowed us to have a truly magical experience and feel like every dollar was well spent. Now, before I get into it, in case you are new to my channel, I wanted to point out that this is not a Disney YouTube channel. Sorry. I do have a few Disney videos, but only as they pertain to personal finance, which is what this channel is actually about. So if you're interested in living a more financially smart life, then I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, hit the notifications button, and since you're already in that realm, go ahead and like this video as well. Now, if you are only interested in Disney videos, then I will make sure to leave a link to my Disney playlist for you down in the description box below. No hard feelings. Now that that's said, let's get started. Now, I listed these tips and methods the way that I use them, from things I did before I even went to the park, like 6 months before my vacation actually started, to things that I did while I was at the park to save me time. So my recommendation is to kind of choose where you feel like you're at and go from there to do all the things that can end up saving you a whole lot of time when you're actually at the park. Now, let's get a couple of things that are pretty obvious out of the way. One is get a travel agent. Tell them all the information you have, what time of year you want to go, how many people, do you want to get the dining plan, do you want to get the memory maker, all that stuff that you have looked into already. Let them know what it is you do want and you don't want, and let them handle giving you a quote and actually trying to get you the best deal possible. So that is definitely my first tip. As far as you trying to do the research for yourself, give it over to a travel agent and they will handle that. There is no fee to use a travel agent, as I've mentioned before, so just take advantage of it. Second time-saving tip is to go off season, which a travel agent will tell you if when you're going is in season or off season, or if there's any special event going on that could increase the crowds in certain parks. A resource for a crowd calendar is touringplans.com. They're also good for a lot of other things, but I know they do have a crowd calendar that is pretty accurate if I do say so myself. Next is to download the app. As soon as you've booked a reservation, I recommend you download the app because that way you are able to make dining reservations, make your FastPass selections from wherever you have your phone. It doesn't have to be in a computer, and sometimes you might forget, or if you are out and about and you've already made reservations or your FastPass selections but you want to change them, you are able to do it straight from your phone. You don't have to wait until you're at a computer, which is really, really convenient. Because we all change our mind before we actually get to the park. It also has a little countdown there for you, which I loved because every time I wanted to see how many days until Disney, I could check my app and it would tell me. Tip number 4 is to make your dining reservations 180 days in advance. Now, you will hear this tip a lot throughout all the Disney videos because I remember I did. But the reason this is really important is because if you already know where you want to go eat, then it's just kind of faster to get it out of the way. And if you needed to make modifications later, then you can kind of see if there's a reservation open. And if there isn't, you can keep your current reservation until you find something new. If you are not going to make the reservation, then make sure that you cancel beforehand or you will get charged. Now, along with tip number 4, tip number 5 has to do when you've passed that 180-day mark, but you still want to go to those nice restaurants or those hard to get reservations. This tip is like my favorite tip in this whole video, which is to use mousedining.com. I literally came across this because I was in desperate mode of finding a reservation for Ohana and for Tusker House and Animal Kingdom, and I didn't plan 180 days in advance because I wasn't sure exactly which restaurants I wanted to go to, and this website totally saved my life. I literally came by this website like a couple of weeks maybe before my trip, and I was able to get all the reservations I wanted, so it was amazing. All you have to do is request the restaurant that you want to go to and request either, if you know the specific time, you can choose a specific time and they'll give you like an hour window, But if, for example, you want to do breakfast, or you want to do lunch, or you want to do dinner, then you can choose that specific time for the meal, and they will alert you as soon as something opens up. And at that point, you get on your app, or if you have access to a computer, you get on your computer, you go onto your My Disney experience, and you book that reservation. I'm telling you guys, this is the best thing out there when it comes to making sure that you get a specific reservation. You are only allowed 6 alerts, so I would go with the different restaurants you want first, and as you start getting your reservations and you are more open to either having like breakfast and lunch at one particular restaurant, then make sure you have an alert set up for breakfast at one restaurant and lunch for that same restaurant, and then whichever comes first, they'll alert you on that. This is definitely if you want to make sure that you get a specific restaurant reservation. So, mousedining.com, best thing ever. Tip number 6 combines saving time and choosing your restaurants, because you want to choose restaurants that have characters. The reason I say this is because if you are a person who wants to meet characters but doesn't really want to wait in line for them, then this is the perfect way to get to meet a bunch of characters and not have to wait in line for them individually. You're able to get your autograph book signed, or your child's autograph book signed, and you're able to take pictures with them. So I think it's like the best of both worlds. You make a reservation for a restaurant, you eat, and you get to meet characters, and you don't have to worry about waiting for them in line. The only character I've waited to meet was Mickey Mouse this time around, and that's because I did want Isabel to meet him in his like normal attire. Do I think it was worth it now? Questionable, because she did get to meet Mickey Mouse in Ohana, in Tusker House, and I just think that, and in Hollywood and Vine too. So I think she got enough Mickey to go around. I could have used that fast pass for something else, but it is what it is. I still have pictures from it, and it was still a great time. Tip number 7 is to choose the right fast passes. The ones that are for the rides that have the longest wait time. Those are usually the most popular rides, so you definitely want to get on them. So if you book at that 90-day mark, make sure that you choose the fast passes that you would not want to wait 2 or 3 hours for, because I don't think it's worth it. The ride might be super cool, but it's still going to be a 30-second to a minute ride. And waiting an hour or more for something like that, I just don't think it's worth it. Now, if you're going with children that are under the height requirement needed to get onto those bigger rides, but you still want to get onto those bigger rides, make sure that you're splitting your fast passes. Let me give you a quick example. In Animal Kingdom, we wanted to make sure that we all got to go on the Kilimanjaro safaris, so I knew that that fast pass was going to involve all of us. I also knew that I wanted to do one of the Pandora rides, and because I was taking my toddler, I wanted it to be the one, I think it was Navi River Journey or something like that. So I booked a fast pass for all of us to go onto that one. So those were taken care of. Now, in order for us adults to get something too, what I did with the other remaining fast pass, because each person gets 3 fast passes per day, was that I split it up. I did 2 adults for Dinosaur, and the other 2 I did for Expedition Everest. When it came to the day of, what we did was when the first 2 were up for Dinosaur, all of us went as a group, told them that we wanted to do child swap because my daughter was too young to ride the ride. So what they did is they asked who was staying outside, which were the 2 people who did not have the fast pass, and they scanned their band so that they could go at a later time. This meant that the first people who got there with a fast pass went into the ride, the other 2 waited outside with the child, we went on the ride, came out, and then we waited with the child, and they went into the ride. So we all got to ride it, but only 2 of us had fast passes for it. And we did the same thing when we went to Expedition Everest. So then we all got to ride both rides, and only 2 of us had to get a fast pass for one and 2 of us for the other. I hope I explained that correctly. The point is that you get to ride both rides, but only have to book a fast pass for half of your group, essentially. If you have any other questions about that, though, leave it in the comments below, and I can try and elaborate a little bit better in the comments. The next tip pertains to those fast pass selections that I mentioned, which is to make sure that you have booked your fast pass selections and made them no later than like 2 or 3 p.m. Like, that's the ending time of your fast passes. The reason for this is because you are allowed to continue to choose fast passes once you have finished your first 3 fast passes, those that you booked before you got to the park. As soon as you scan your band for that last fast pass, you are able to book another one. Like literally, as soon as I scanned it and we were walking into the line, going through or whatever to the fast pass lane, I was on my phone checking what fast passes were available. Keep in mind that you have to sometimes like refresh and change the times a little bit that are closer, that are afternoon, and it'll give you new times like every single time. So don't just think that the one time you land on those fast pass selections are the only times available. No, keep refreshing it, keep moving it around, and the times will change and new fast passes will be available. I would refresh and it would show that one was available at 5 p.m. and then I would refresh and it would show that the same ride was available at 4:25 p.m. And it was just weird, but it worked. Once I got that, like I kept refreshing and until I found either the ride I wanted to go on or the time that I wanted to go at. So the sooner you're able to finish your fast passes, the better it is. So you can start booking the next one. Next is to make use of the Magical Express. If you are flying into Disney and you're staying at a Disney resort, then you're able to take advantage of the Disney's Magical Express, which means that they take your luggage from the airport to your resort, and then you take the Magical Express, which is a bus that takes you to your resort once you've landed. So you don't have to worry about Uber or Lyft or a taxi or whatever it is. So what we did is we booked our flight really early. And we got there maybe around 9 or 10 or so. They picked up our bags, so all we had to do was go straight to the Magical Express, get on the bus. They took us to the resort. I was able to check in on my phone, so I didn't even have to go inside. We knew we weren't gonna get our bags for a few hours, and we were planning on going to the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party. So what we pretty much did is we had some lunch, and then we went to Disney Springs, and from there we went straight to Magic Kingdom for the party. So make sure that you just pack along what you need for the day, and you can literally start your vacation as soon as the Magical Express drops you off to your resort. Saves time, less hassle, it's perfect. Create some sort of itinerary. Now, if I could literally time out every little thing we were doing and know how long it takes to get between things, then I would totally do that. But I was being realistic. I have a toddler with me. Like, that was not gonna happen, right? But what I did want to do is to kind of mark down all the things that I knew I wanted to do, like I had to do it, and things that I kind of wanted to do that if I got the time or if I had the break or whatever it is, that we would get it done, but that wasn't mandatory, right? So that just kind of gave me an idea of where to prioritize when I had that extra little time. When we were at Hollywood Studios, we were kind of burnt out from the day because that morning was really rainy and stuff. As the day went on, it got better. If it wasn't because I looked at my itinerary and I saw that I wanted to do Fantasmic, I would have totally forgotten about it, left the park, and looked back on it regretting that I didn't go to Fantasmic. So that itinerary definitely came in handy. I did use touringplans.com and paid, I think it was about $15 for their service to be able to kind of do a plan for the day. It did help out. Was it worth the $15? Maybe not for everyone. And my final tip is to use the app. As a little bonus tip is make sure you carry an external charger because you will need it. I was on that app all day long, whether it was checking for fast passes, checking my pictures. Since I had the memory maker, it gets downloaded on there, and I was able to directly download the pictures from my phone and be able to post it on social media if I wanted to, so that was cool. But one of my favorite things to do on the app while I was at the park was to order food. Most of the places around, at least the more popular places that are normally busier, are part of the mobile order. We did that for a couple of quick service restaurants, and we also did it for a few snacks. I know I got some Dole Whip and I ordered on my phone, and it was so much faster than those people who were waiting in line. Sorry, not sorry. If you're going to spend all that money, then just do your best to not get overwhelmed. And if you need to take a break, take a break. There are plenty of places that you can kind of get away from the crowds and just hang out. So just realize when that's the time and do it. I think that's my best time-saving advice, because if you are calm and collected, you will make better choices when it comes to where you choose to wait or not wait in order to make the best possible vacation. Whew. So there you have them. Those are all of my tips and the way that I saved the most amount of time while at Disney World. I definitely feel like not only did we get a lot done, a lot of rides, a lot of food, a lot of just like little moments of magic everywhere, but I didn't feel like it was overwhelming. Being that it was vacation, I didn't want to feel rushed or like I had to be someplace at some time. Yes, if you make dining reservations and you make fast passes, you do have to be there at a specific time, mainly with dining reservations, but you have an hour window when it comes to your fast passes. So I think that hour window is great. It definitely gave us some breathing room, especially if you book your fast passes back to back. In between those times, we definitely took our time and kind of took it in, took some pictures, did all that fun stuff that create the memories, right? So use these tips as best as you can. Don't try to add too many things to your plate, because then you will feel stressed out and then you will feel like you didn't get enough done. So if you found any of these tips helpful in any way, shape, or form, please make sure that you hit that like button. And if you love hearing my voice, and then make sure that you subscribe as well. I would love for you to join me on different ways that I can help you save money in every aspect of your life. If there are any questions, Disney related or not, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I read all of those comments. If you want to keep up with me and get some more daily tips and inspiration, then make sure you follow me on Instagram, or I also have a Facebook group if you prefer. If you find me there, make sure that you say hi and you tell me that you came from YouTube, because I think that's super cool. So, okay, I'm done. I will talk to y'all next time. Bye, guys.